BOCI, Business Over Coffee International. We're here today with our share collaboration meeting, and we have some great guests to speak to today, where we're going to talk about the pink slip. Change whenever you have the pink slip, or just change because you want to change in your career situation, and how to make that easier transition and overcome the obstacles that may come in those situations. We want you to join us on Twitter at BOCoffee, hashtag BOCI. We also have a live blogger here, Cheryl Hurley, who is at the Stylus Quo, hashtag blogging, BLOGGING, okay. So just join us, check in, and see what's going on. And Business Over Coffee is a wonderful organization that brings people together of all sorts and all across the country, because so much, in fact, all of it is all virtual. So we have people all over the country. In fact, some other countries other than the United States are listening to us right now too. And we also have a few people here, so make yourselves known. Let the people out there know that you're here. So we're going to jump right in with our interviews. Oh, by the way, my name is Carolyn Bindle, and I'm your host for this next couple of hours. And I also have my own business called Fashion Academy, where we train image consultants, even hair colorists. We train them too. Fashion designers. We even have some retail consultants at Dillard's Oak Court and here in Memphis and such. So we're going to jump right in here with our very first one. Chris was actually, you were the very first person I thought of whenever I thought of this subject, because I knew in the back of my mind, and then when you responded that you had gone from construction to cosmetology, I was like, awesome. But this is Chris Bonner, and he was a construction worker for about 7 years, and then woke up one day and went to cosmetology school. I'm sure it's not that easy, but
it pretty much is that easy.
And then after graduating from Plaza Beauty School, right here in Memphis, you went on to other salons, and then went back and got your certification for instructor here in the state of Tennessee.
Right. And
you're now teaching at Plaza Beauty School. So how in the world does someone go from construction one day to cosmetology school the next?
I had started working doing burglar alarm fire alarms, worked for a few different companies. The last one I worked for was Whitfield Electric down in Hernando. And I told my wife when I first started working there, I was like, I don't care what happens. If I have to quit, if they fire me, if I get laid off, this is the last time I'm doing this.
Really?
Yeah, because every time a layoff would happen, I mean, you have 30 other guys who had the same certifications applying for the same jobs because they were getting smaller and smaller. So about a year after working there, I got laid off because I was the last guy hired in, so I was the first one to go. And wasn't really sure what to do, but I had known a few stylists. And they always had work, they always liked their jobs. So I just figured I could do that too.
That's awesome. And so you're a victim of layoffs, not just, let's just make a change.
Yeah, when
it sounds like multiple layoffs at that.
Yeah, when every time the housing market would crash,
then the construction workers fall back.
Yeah.
So what kind of changes in your own home did that create too? Stress?
Stress and money. I mean, I worked, when I was in beauty school that entire year, I was pulling 30 hours at the school and then 35 hours delivering pizza.
Oh, thank goodness for those jobs.
Yeah.
They put a lot of people through school.
Yeah, just had to find something to bring home some money, so that put a lot of stress. And then after that, it was pretty good. My first year out was kind of rough. First year out, doing hair, you don't make a lot of money. So the first year out was rough, but it got better. And then, of course, the job at Plaza, I'd come back in town, and I just went up there to say hello, and the owner, Mr. Sparks, asked me if I ever thought about coming back and teaching. And I, true to myself, I was like, nah, when do you want me to start?
So there you go. Now, as cosmetology school as an option for people, it's a little easier to do cosmetology school than to get it and pay the high expenses for college and such too, isn't it? Or is it harder to, what are the qualifications, I guess, to get into
For
cosmetology
us,
school?
all we require a high school diploma, and I'm really not sure what else. Legally, it's a high school diploma, 16 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
16, as young as 16? Well, actually.
We actually got a few students that are 17 right now.
Because there are some high schools here in Memphis that have the cosmetology department in the high school. So, okay, so they graduate and they're set.
But we, as an industry, have a 100% employment rate, which means
Wow.
if I lose my job tomorrow or I leave for whatever reason, I could find another job Saturday if I really wanted to.
Wow. There's not many industries can say that 100% of our graduates are going to go on and have a job.
Well, it's not that 100% of our graduates are going to have a job. It's just as an industry, if any stylist, anybody with a cosmetology, they can find one.
They can find one. I've heard that nurses are that way, that pretty much anywhere you go.
Yeah, and it might not be the most glamorous place, but
Yeah.
you can always find a job doing something in the beauty industry.
I never thought of that hair would be, and it's not just hair though. Cosmetology school encompasses
Hair, skin, nails.
The whole. Now, what are the different requirements for each of those? Like for hair, what's the requirement?
In the state of Tennessee, most of them are the cosmetology license kind of encompasses all of it. I mean, there's certain legal things that we can't do that fall in the realm of aesthetics and barbers and stuff like that. But if I wanted to go work as a makeup artist somewhere, I mean, I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
If I wanted to go do, hair and makeup for movie shows, stuff like that, I could do that.
We've had Len Sittler here, and that is an industry that is needed for us to bring the movie and television industry into Memphis. So that is an option that we've got to have here, is those people that are willing to do those types of things too. Now, an esthetician, what are the requirements for an esthetician?
Legally, it's the same. They don't have to go to school for quite some time. A cosmetologist has to be in school for 1,500 hours. An esthetician, I believe, is only 600.
Okay.
I'm not too abreast on that one because we don't have an aesthetics program.
Oh, okay.
We just have a cosmetology program, so it's kind of in the back of my mind. Like, I know it because I read the law book all the time, but I can't think
And
it's
what are the
600.
differences between an esthetician and a cosmetologist?
Esthetician deals mainly with skin care, things like laser hair removal.
All the scary stuff.
All the scary stuff. All the scary stuff. Microdermabrasion, chemical peels, stuff like that.
Yeah, all the scary stuff. Our makeover this month for the commercial appeal had a chemical peel done. And as I was talking to the doctor that said the different things that they did, I was going, scary stuff. I definitely want somebody well-trained. So the cosmetologists, they do hair and makeup. Do they learn makeup techniques? We've talked about that.
Yeah.
We have gone to Plaza. And Plaza, I have to say, is very, very good because I have actually used Plaza students in our makeovers in the commercial
Yeah, we
field.
did one, what was that, last year? Year before
Yeah,
last?
I think we've used you 2 or 3 times. Yeah, and we got another one coming up that we're
Yeah.
going to use you in August. So, I'm sorry, I changed the subject.
That's
on
fine.
you. What encompasses it? It's hair and
Hair,
makeup.
we touch a little bit on skin because we can do basic waxing, stuff like that, but also we
Scary
do.
stuff again.
We
I'm a
also
chicken,
talk
can
about
you tell?
we also talk about makeup and things like that because, like I tell my students, people will do things out of convenience. So, for example, when I was working in South Haven, we had a bridal party come in, and me and updos don't get along. So one girl who was really good at updos was doing them. Well, they had a time constraint because they had to go somewhere else to get their makeup done. And I was like, I'll just do it. So
There you go.
they actually paid more than they would have going to a makeup counter, obviously.
Uh-huh.
But because their time constraint was lifted and we could just do it all right there.
Then it was easier to
Yeah.
do. Okay. Now, you mentioned the makeup counter. Are those ladies, mostly ladies? There's some men coming in there now, but are they cosmetologists?
They are not, for the
Okay.
most part. You have a few that are. they kind of work on a loophole because they're not selling a service. They're selling
a
product.
Okay.
They don't have to be licensed.
Okay. So they do the service, they do have to be licensed? And that's even still a loophole?
Yeah, because technically they're giving you a demo.
Yeah. And then, also, I want to say the makeup artists that are done on television and stuff like that, there's a loophole there for them too.
Yeah, they don't have to be licensed either.
Yeah. But to do hair, to touch hair, to do anything with hair, because we had a Lifetime television show was here just a little while back, and I was gonna help them out with the makeup because I can do that for television. And then I'm talking to the talent on the phone the day before, and she's expecting someone to do her hair for the television show too, for Lifetime, and I went, oh no. So I'm running over to another place that was there at the Southern Women's Show. I'm going, I need one of your right away because they're wanting hair. And whenever you're making the change from construction to the cosmetology, did you find it very difficult to switch gears? Because that's another, is switching gears, switching your mindset.
Kind of. The biggest, well, kind of. When I was doing fire alarms and burglar alarms, started out doing small pillbox houses, but the company I worked for at the time started doing a lot of custom houses.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up having to deal directly with the homeowners and doing this. I mean, one of the largest houses that I did the fire and burglar alarm in was 22,000 square feet.
Wow.
So
I don't
dealing,
want utility bill.
dealing with them and, trying to get them, trying to basically sell them stuff and get them what they need and everything else. It kind of helped with that customer service relation thing.
So I say, I'm seeing customer service
Yeah.
coming out there, and it's all in customer service. I know people who have quit going to, who have chosen not to use a stylist simply because they have no customer service skills. And a little hint that I got, I've worked with some really top-notch people, and one that I've worked with is Ryan Boyd in Los Angeles. Well, actually, he's in Hollywood. His salon is on Santa Monica Boulevard. And if they need a redhead in the movies, they call Ryan. And he makes, that actress a redhead. And he was doing some explaining to some people once, and he stood behind, like I was sitting in the chair and there was some other people there, and he put his arms on my shoulder and he looked at me through the mirror and he talked to me. He goes, don't ever do that.
Right.
Don't ever. He says, that is done so much. He said, he turned and he looked at me and he says, look at your client face to face. So customer service is
that's
strong.
Memphis per capita has more salons than anywhere in the country.
Really?
Yeah.
But yet they're all still in business.
Yeah, there's enough to go around. But that's one of the things that we as an industry are getting away from is, we are a service industry. I always tell my students that the hair is a small portion of what you do. We have to be salespeople, we have to be service people. And the other thing that we have to be is just honest with our clients.
Okay. Do you have to have an inbred talent, or do you develop the talent?
I would say no, because
I did that on purpose, because construction, I don't see.
My first, I was bald.
Swinging a hammer and then cutting scissors.
I always tell my students today, I was like, if you have a question, ask it, because if there's a stupid question to ask, I asked it. I remember sitting in my class one time when I was in beauty school, and another buddy of mine who used to be a motorcycle mechanic, he was in there with me. And we're sitting in the back, and our instructor's going on about different parts, and zigzag parts, side parts, and this part. And I looked at him, and I was like, did we go to the bathroom and I missed something? So finally we raised our hand and we asked, and she said, what? And we're like, what part are you talking about? Like, we build things, like radiator, axle, what part? And she spreads her hair open and she says, part, and we go, oh, okay, well.
The part, the actual part.
Suddenly the last hour makes sense now. Good.
I might be able to make it through beauty school. Because if that's
Yeah.
I could see that. So, how hard then, not hard, that's not the word I'm looking for, the financial aspect, whenever you get that pink slip and or you want to make that career change, like you said, finances are going to be in straits. Are there scholarships? Are there grants? Are there loans? How does that work to be able to get the money for beauty school?
We can offer financial aid. We also can do Pell Grants, and we
Okay.
also can do VA loans for
Oh,
people
really?
in the military.
VA
Yeah.
loans, okay,
We don't really have any scholarships per se.
okay.
But we can do, like I said, we can do all that. Our tuition, we're competitively priced as far as our tuition. Our overall cost is a little bit higher than some schools, but that's because our kits are so well put together. I remember when I was in beauty school, the kits that we had then, I basically had to rebuy everything before I went to a job because I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go to a job with all that because it was inexpensive stuff. It was just stuff to get you through school. But now the tools that we give them now, they can walk onto a job with.
So the tuition obviously is going to be a little bit more.
Yeah,
but there's a reason for that.
Yeah, like I said, the
That's
tuition.
awesome.
Yeah, the
That's a good
tuition. Our
reason.
tuition's the same. We haven't changed our tuition in a couple of years, but our overall cost keeps going up because we keep adding to the kid and making the kid better.
Okay, that's awesome. Now, are most of your people 18, 19-year-olds, or are you seeing middle age coming through now
it's a pretty
because
good
of
mix.
the economy and things that have changed?
That or just people. It's maybe something that people have always wanted to do, or.
Do you know, I have a hidden desire. You know what it is?
What's that?
Cosmetology school.
Yeah, it's just stuff that people want to do. We've had a few retirees come through there, and they're like, "I'm retired."
Really?
Yeah, they're just like, "I'm retired, and I want to learn how to do this." I'm trying to think. I mean, the stories are so varied and vast. Most of them are younger, and this is just what they want to do.
Okay.
But we do have a few people in there who have like that odd story. We had a gentleman came in and he toured the school. He didn't enroll, as far as I know, but he was probably 56, 57. And the reason he was looking into it was his wife is very phobic about people touching her, and he's the only one that she'll let do her hair because it's her husband. And he got tired of messing it up, so he's thinking about going to school just to learn how to do it so he wouldn't mess it up anymore.
Oh, you're kidding!
Yeah, so.
That is amazing.
Are we allowed to ask questions from
Sure.
the audience?
Yes.
So, somewhere along the line, where did you make that transition in your mind to make that switch?
It was about a month after I lost my job. And quite honestly, I didn't even shop any other beauty schools. I went to Plaza. The reason I went there, my sister had gone there. She went there when they had a nail program, and she was a nail tech. And she went there, so I didn't even bother.
Question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, I can, now that I'm on the other side of it, I can almost hear all the educators and staff back then when I enrolled, because here I am, scruffy beard, I was bald.
Yeah, you're just not exactly the personification.
Basically, it came down, I was what's known as a lay down, which is I came in, didn't really care, just sign me up, we're good. So I could just hear all them going, he's not really going to make it because this was way too easy, and he doesn't fit the profile. But, I did it.
And you went to, when I met you, you were with Ted Cortese at Diva Color Studios. So, you went from Plaza to top notch.
And I remember,
Vogue magazine calls them the best color salon in the South. So.
I remember interviewing with Ted for that job, and he said, I'm going to give you a shot because you're not a stereotypical stylist.
That sounds like Ted.
Yeah.
So, we talked about the financial aspect of it. Now, I do know someone one time who didn't want to be a stylist, but he was going through beauty school because he wanted to own a salon. And he wanted to have full knowledge of, what was going on. Do you have that happen very often? Or people that go through specifically saying, I'm going to own a salon?
We have people that they want to work and then eventually own their own salon, but I haven't really come across somebody that's their goal.
That was their goal.
That's they didn't want to work. All they wanted to do was own the place. And, people ask me all the time if I ever want to open my own salon, and I'm like, no, because I've been on the phone with somebody trying to explain to them why I need the jumbo size roll of toilet paper, and I just don't want to have those conversations all the
time. And there are people that are like that.
And I mean, that's, you order stuff and paper goods come in and it's the wrong size, and you got to call them back, and it's just like, I don't want to deal with all that.
You don't deal with it.
The closest I ever got
funny.
was, being a booth renter, and I was happy with that. So.
Yeah. Okay, well, we've been talking with Chris Bonner. Now, one more thing, he's at Plaza Beauty School, and Plaza has got some big changes coming
Yeah.
up. For those of you who are not familiar with Memphis, Plaza is synonymous with Memphis history. It's been around, what did he say?
53, 54
Yeah,
years.
a lot of years. I remember Plaza being in the basement over in Poplar Plaza
Which is where the
Shopping
name come
Center.
from.
And they're now over on Colonial.
Spotswood.
They're over on Spotswood. It's at the Target that's on Colonial and Spotswood, across the street from Hilton headquarters.
Right.
But y'all have bigger plans coming.
Yeah, we've been that place for 36 years.
Oh yeah, you just made me feel old because I just told everybody. Plaza being in the basement.
Yeah, and we are.
Luckily, there are people in the audience going, I remember when Plaza was in the basement.
But at the end of this year, we're actually moving on Germantown Parkway where Hastings was. It's going to triple our space. We're able to build the facility from ground up. So we're going to have, because everything in our facility is dated. The stations, and the way the place was built as it is now, it didn't start out as big as it is. It actually started out much, much smaller. And as the next business would move out, we would take over, and we would take over, and over the course we've expanded. So it's not built as a school.
Mm-hmm.
We get to build this from the ground up. We get to incorporate everything that we can. We're actually going to be incorporating a lot of new technologies for learning. Have space to where we can do shows and host various events there.
I like the shows. They've asked me to come in and help with their fashion shows that they plan on doing.
Yeah.
And they're just going to roll the stations out of the building, out of the room.
Out of the room.
And have this whole big front area for runway fashion shows.
And then we're gonna
I'm so excited for Plaza.
And we're going to have
yes, give them a hand. That's awesome.
our learning system, which is Pivot Point International, is actually pretty large everywhere else in the country but the South. They haven't really moved into the South too much. They're actually going to be bringing in people for us to help out with the shows.
That's awesome.
Carolyn, I
Good
have
time.
a question from
Okay.
Ustream. Grace Major is interested in knowing if military can use their GI Bill to attend the school.
We do offer VA loans. I'm not the person to ask for financial aid. I know that we offer financial aid, and then we do VA and we do Pell Grant, and that's about the limit of my knowledge.
Okay, we will find out the answer to that.
Yeah, I can
and-
always find out.
and
I can
find
ask my
out,
financial aid people.
And we can post it on Business Over Coffee's Facebook page, the
Yes.
answer to that question, so that if
Actually,
anybody else is wondering the same
In
thing.
fact, Chris Bonner, have you set up your profile yet?
No.
Okay, so go in there and do that. And that way we can ask you those questions. I would also like to let you know, Carolyn, that we have had 8 followers during this interview on Twitter. We have Peter Schmitz, John Q, Michael Zing, Kevin D. Johnson, Michael Toonstall. I don't know if I just murdered his name. Aaron Sylvan, Incredible Rest Sheets, Matthew L. Morrison, and Michael Little. Everybody give our Twitter followers a hand.
Okay, well, Chris Bonner, Plaza Beauty School, and they are open to the public, as you can tell. So many of us know about it because y'all do hair.
We do hair.
And much less expensive than the salons. And the instructors are standing over, so don't worry, you're not gonna get, the horrible thing to happen. But thank you so much, Chris, for
Thank you.
sharing your story and letting people know that cosmetology school is an option whenever that pink slip does come. So thank you very much. Chris Bonner with Plaza Beauty School here in Memphis, Tennessee. Okay, we're gonna take